All right, let's get right into it, man. So Deion Sanders appears to be threatened by a Twitter user for suggesting that he's just using Colorado for his come up. For me personally, I don't believe that he is using Colorado. If anything, Colorado needed him. Tis the reason why they offer him a bag, so that way he can lift up Colorado to dominant prominence, right, in the college football. Now, let me be very clear here. I want to put my stamp by saying I like Deion Sanders. I like what he stands for as far as from a sports perspective. I like his vision. Man, he makes me want to play for him if I was still, able to go back to college and play football. But let me tell you this, man. I don't like the stigma that you have all these people trying to put on Deion Sanders. Let me tell you something, man. Deion Sanders has every single right to do what he wants to do far as and where he wants to go and elevate his coaching career. Let me be clear with that perspective. Let me be also clear by saying this. Is that for anyone saying that, you know what, like this person that tweeted on Twitter saying that he's using Colorado as a stepping stone to another destination where he wants to go. Let me tell you something. First off, he's not doing that. Second of all, let me tell you something. If he was, let me tell you something, and he might be, who cares? Because let me give you a list of people. Let me break it down to you. Let me break it down to you because I'm about to break it down because what we're going to do is we're going to sit here and keep it real. We're going to keep it 100%. Now, let me read this tweet on what was said. So this person right here, Gus Bus is his Twitter name, is Gus the sports fan. And he tweeted by saying that the quicker the success, the quicker he is gone. He's talking about Deion Sanders. That buyout clause is pretty small. Hope I'm wrong and he stays, but I see Prime as using Colorado as a stepping stone. Once again, I hope I am wrong and see a strong Colorado for years and years to come. Let me tell you something. First of all, he has the right to go wherever he chooses. As long as he's performed and outperforming his contract, which means that they are playing winning football, winning seasons. That is a plus for Deion Sanders. So Deion Sanders took some time. He said, I had some time today. You got my attention. And that's what Deion Sanders said. My man, we don't use people. We bless people, my man. I ain't been hurting for money since the 80s. He said, I ain't been hurting for money since the 80s. Come on now. He said, now you had my attention for 5 seconds that it took me to check you. Obviously, you don't know me, but want to. I ain't hard to find. I love this baby. Come on, man. This is what Deion Sanders was saying. But let me kind of break some facts. Let me bring some facts to y'all, okay? Let me put this picture back on prime time, Deion Sanders. But let me break some facts to you. Nick Saban. I pretty much, if anybody watch college football or know anything about sports, you know who Nick Saban is, right? So Nick Saban was coaching LSU 2002, 2003, 2004, right? Then he left them. He left early from out his contract. And he went to the NFL, the Miami Dolphins, right? Then, after he couldn't cut it with the Miami Dolphins, he left after only one season, which means he left out of that contract early. And went back to college football. And he's coaching, who he's coaching still now, is the Alabama Crimson Tide. But let me break it down to you. From Crimson Tide of Alabama right now, he's getting paid around $11.7 million. Now, check this out, because I ain't done yet. Now, when he was at LSU, he was making anywhere, he signed a 5-year deal worth about $6 to $7 million. So then he decided to leave and go to the Miami Dolphins because it was more lucrative and it was a more prominent position for him to grow as a head coach. That's why he left and went to Miami. Then he quickly found out, man, I ain't cut out for this. Nah, man, I can't deal with this. Let me go back to the college football realm. And then that's how he made in 2022 alone, like $11.7 million alone. Why he's not being called a sellout? Why he's not saying that he's using these opportunities as a stepping stone? Because that's what he did. Let me put out another college football player. You know who Lincoln Riley is? He's actually the head coach for USC. But let me give you some prominence of what he did. He signed a 5-year deal with Oklahoma back in 2019 for $32 million. Then in 2020, he signed a 6-year deal worth $45.2, which was one of the top highest paid college football coaches in that time, right? So what he did, he left Oklahoma. He lied about it at first, but he left Oklahoma to go and coach USC for approximately $110 million contract. Now, is he being called a sellout? Is he being called as using them as a stepping stone, using these positions? It's strategic, baby. If you having somebody throwing you this type of money, guess what? Yeah, it's hard to pass that up. But why nobody is talking about that? Why nobody? Let me give you another coach. Because I ain't even done yet. How many of you know Brian Kelly? Brian Kelly, y'all. Let me tell you a little bit about Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly was the college football coach for Notre Dame, was getting paid some good money, right? But he left. But this is what he said, why he left. He said in this quote, I left Notre Dame. I want to be in an environment where I have the resources to win a national championships. And I came down here because I want to be in the American League East. I felt like I did everything that I could at Notre Dame, and they felt like they did everything they could for me. He went on to say, Kelly said he made frequent requests to Notre Dame to increase their resource investment into the football team and to make improvements around the athletic center, but that the school never followed up on them, and the coach specifically noted the difference between the athletic resource center at Notre Dame and the one at LSU, with the latter having its own nutrition center with a dining hall and on-campus chef dedicated solely for the football program and its players. So at Notre Dame, he was probably getting paid about $2.7 million a year. And then he left them to go to LSU between $10 to $15 million a year. Is he a sellout? Let me tell you something, man, right now. Stop all the stigma of toe tagging trying to put on Deion Primetime Sanders. He is a head coach first, but he is a black man that has deserved the right to be able to go to another job to make them winners too. I want you to have that same energy when he hopefully turns around that program from a losing season to a winning season. I want you to keep that same energy. Instead of you trying to categorize him as trying to use somebody, no, Colorado need him. They need his services. They need his prime time charisma. As you can see, he's already putting in the work trying to grab these 4- and 5-star athletes to come play at Colorado because Deion Primetime Sanders is there. So let me check you on that, buddy, before you start checking on Deion Primetime Sanders. If you don't know about him, you better go look up and you better watch him. Because this man brings integrity. This man brings character to this program. Hey, man, y'all be blessed.